Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. We're so excited to be here today, aren't we?
We are, because we're going to talk about financial wisdom while you own real estate and if you find yourself in a financial difficulty.
Yes.
And if you're renting, a lot of these things apply.
They'll apply, yeah, whether you're renting or own.
Many of them do, whether you rent or you own. And
all of them do, actually.
Do they? Well,
yeah.
You wouldn't consider maybe selling.
Yeah, but you may consider moving to a lower price rental.
Okay, so it's maybe almost the same thing, I know, Ken's really wise. And so we're hoping that today, much of that wisdom will be imparted.
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal. So tactical things to do, right?
That's not the show. We're not talking about that.
We will a little bit.
Tactical?
Yeah. They're take action kind of things.
Yeah, they could read my book if they want tactical.
Okay. And
today's about mental.
And tactical. I know what we're talking about, and I say it's both.
Okay, you can say it's both, but I'm going to focus on mental.
That doesn't mean, never mind. Let's not even go down that road. Let's just learn together and grow together and just get some really solid foundational principles on what to do. Because we're laughing and we're giggling and we're having some fun, and yet difficulties.
It's a very serious topic.
It really is a serious topic.
So you should really drop your energy a little bit.
We'll see.
Well, not really, because really what we're talking about is keeping your energy up in the midst of difficult circumstances.
Right.
So let's keep our energy up.
Okay, let's do it. Because having that financial wisdom and knowing what to do, even when life is tough, is vital. Yeah. Okay. So number one, really, the first thing that I would think about is, okay, now I'm confused because it's kind of twofold, the number one that comes to my mind. Number one is take responsibility for the situation. See it for how it is.
Yes.
And then in the next breath, still kind of at number one, is let go. Don't hold on so tight that you don't take action. So you've got to kind of let go and let God. Accept your current reality. And I mean things like, which are difficult, things like job loss, something you weren't counting on, and now you've been out there looking and looking and looking. I know we were in that situation once where you didn't have a job, and that job you didn't have for 3 years. Partway through that, we decided he could be a stay-at-home dad.
That was fun.
That was an adventure, which it was
still put a financial strain on us.
Oh, it did, because then and then it caused me to have to work twice as much.
That was good.
For who?
For you. For me. I don't know. For the family. So I'm looking at the silver lining.
Right, which is a concept we'll talk about in a minute. So the first is really take responsibility and accept your current reality. And then let go and let God navigate you through it. Yes. So some of those things that could get in our way that we weren't counting on is that job loss I talked about. Could be an illness. Remember the time I was in the hospital for a long time and almost died a couple of times?
I do.
Right. That was something where you got to work more. And in fact, in that scenario, it was a good thing we had a team because you were sitting at the hospital a lot.
Yeah. Even though you didn't remember I was there.
I know. When you don't have, when you're having memory loss and challenges and you're in and out of consciousness, the reality is you don't remember everything.
Yep. And the reality is when you have a loved one who's sick, even if you go to work, you're probably not producing at the level that you would be if everything was hunky-dory. Is that a good word? Hunky-dory? No.
That's just like, where did you come from? 1973.
Yeah.
Anyway, loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah.
That's huge in terms of financial strain, a financial difficulty that you didn't have and now you have.
I know when I lost my dad, I went into a bit of a funk. And I would say it was a year, and Yetta would say it was 2 years.
Right, 2 years.
And even though I was still working, I was kind of lethargic and just kind of going through the motions more wasn't high energy. And also I did things like I would, even though if we'd have the money, I would pay the Visa card or the MasterCard or whatever, I'd pay it late.
Right.
Just because I just couldn't get my brain around sitting down and doing bills.
Right.
And that actually affected our credit rating. And that's where the mind got in the way of our financial success for a little while.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's ever happened to you when a difficulty in life now creates a financial difficulty. Do you do a little bit of bury your head? I mean, that's really what you did because you just didn't have the energy to bring to the table.
Yeah, and I, put my head in the sand and pretend all the problems weren't there. And what happens is the problems get worse.
Right, because what we resist persists.
That's absolutely right.
Right? So it in fact, not only did it persist, it increased.
Yeah, and I think that's when you say persist and when you resist, it will persist. That's when you blame others for your financial issues, or your boss for your job loss, or God for an illness, or whenever you're blaming others, then you're not taking responsibility and you're resisting your reality. And then the other thing is should have. Look back in the past, I should have done this, I should have done that. Well,
and
what do you
what
get
happens
when you should a lot?
When
what
you
do you
should
get?
a lot, you get a shouldy life.
That's right.
And it really does create a shoulddiness.
Yeah.
And it actually creates a new level of anxiety.
Yeah, because then you're just blaming yourself.
Right.
And sometimes there's a take responsibility and move on.
Right.
Don't stay in the should have, coulda, woulda, should have.
Right. And one of the things that I know we've learned to do over the years, and I know many of you have as well. I know you've probably learned that as well, and it has probably paid the most dividends in our lives. And that is look for the silver lining.
That's number 2.
Yeah, because looking for that silver lining can make you not worry so much about the thing that's horrible and help you actually move forward quicker. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So can you give us an example maybe of a time where we did what we could to look for the silver lining and then what good came out of it?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, one of our mentors taught us to ask that question. Whenever something negative happens, whether it be someone at work quits or the car breaks down, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is, just ask the question, what good could come of this? Am I going to meet a stranger who's going to help me and we're going to build a relationship? Maybe I got an opportunity to share Christ with that person. Whatever it is, maybe I've avoided a major accident because now I'm stuck in the ditch. Who knows? But God knows.
Right.
And God has a bigger plan than we can see. So sometimes looking back, like when we went through marital issues and financial issues in our first 9-10 years of marriage, the things we needed to learn to grow and to improve so that we would be better at our relational talk, our relational communication, our finances, the way we raised our children, getting rid of anger issues in me, and all kinds of things. All the stuff we learned, now we can teach it.
Right.
And out of that sprung the Wealth Formula book.
Right.
And that's financial wealth formula. And yet I wrote it as a story where a couple struggles, and there's interrelationship issues, and there's communication issues. And so weaving some of the truths on how to manage that through the book creates that emotional tie to you, the reader, and causes you to be able to take the financial information as well as, it's kind of like, what do they call that? Stealth. It's kind of woven in there. You don't know you're buying this book as a relational book, but it'll have that effect. And so we're even moving towards where we're going to have a wealth formula club. And the lub. That's a good slip, eh? The club will be holistic. It will be around our wealth and our health and our mental health and our relational health. And so that's going to be fantastic.
Well, and so back to the silver lining thing is by looking for what good could and or what has come, because sometimes you can't see it in the space. Sometimes you have to have a few feet past it.
Yes.
To be able to kind of see what's there. So,
well, they say hindsight's 20/20, right?
And so having had those significant struggles in our lives and figuring out how to navigate through them. So it wasn't so much the struggle that was beneficial, it was what we learned through the struggle.
Absolutely.
And then how we learned to do things differently. So the silver lining came from the growth through that struggle. Rather than going around it, we went through it. And so now there is a freedom that it can exist, right?
Yep.
Because we don't have figured out, we got a lot of it figured out. And so when Ken was talking about the club a little bit, they're all going to be it's the whole thing is a wealth formula. It's really that one aspect is the financial wealth formula. The other aspect is a relational wealth formula. Another aspect is the physical wealth formula. And so these different types of wealth that we have in our life make all the difference. It's the money thing is just one little piece, and yet if you don't have food with your meals, it can be difficult.
Yes. And we're going to weave into that club spiritual wealth.
Exactly.
Because, this brings us to number 3, which is, scripturally it says, in all things give thanks.
Right.
And they're talking all things. So that's in the troubled times. That's in the great times. That's in the sorrow. And I struggle with that. You may struggle with that as well. I don't know. Do you struggle with that, Yenna?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet the Bible says, give thanks. So celebrate the tough times. And I was thinking about that. And there's the word crises. Part of that means opportunity. So whenever there's a crisis, quite often there's opportunity. So look for the opportunity. That's the silver lining. Where's the opportunity? Whether it's growth in your personal development or whether it's a financial opportunity through this. Maybe what you're struggling with, others will struggle with, and you may have a business opportunity. You have no idea. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people love the mountaintop experience.
Well, okay, so we're just going to stop. Ken just said a lot of people Ken actually really likes the mountaintop experience.
You may like the mountaintop experience.
Right.
Where everything seems to be going great.
Right. There's momentum.
You've got a jump in your step. You got a smile on your face, and things are going your way. You're making money. Your RSP's working. Everything's working.
Well, your relationships are good.
You come home, dinner's ready, your wife's happy, or your spouse is happy. Like, these are good times, right? That's really what I call a mountaintop experience. And yet, when you go to the valley is kind of when you're in the dumps or the things are going wrong. You don't have to be in the dumps as far as in your mental attitude, but you may be in the dumps around your career, your marriage, your relationships. Your kids may be going down a path that's not right for you or right for them. Yes. But you know what I figured out? In the valley, if you go to the valleys, what's grown in the valleys?
Is the fruit.
All the fruit is grown in the valleys, except for maybe coffee beans, which are grown at high elevations. But pretty much everything's grown in the valleys. And so don't have to stay in the valley for a long time, but get the lesson, get the growth, grow the fruit in your life from those valley experiences.
Yeah. They're helpful. And can you give Ken, I'm doing this on the spot. He has no idea I'm going to do this.
Oh, no.
I think it would be valuable if just out of your reservoir of experiences, what is one time that would be applicable to a financial difficulty that fruit was grown in the valley in your life? Because it may just make the person that is looking and listening, looking and or listening, or maybe both right now, be able to do something tangible with the insight.
Well, I think some of the financial, I would call them mistakes, that I have made, whether investing in a person that I shouldn't have invested in financially in their project, or investing in stocks or bonds and mutual funds or whatever, where I thought, ooh, this is a good one, and I put a lot of money into it and lost it all or most of it.
Or all of it.
Yeah, that's what I said, all or most of it.
I'm thinking all of it more than once.
Okay, yeah. And so then it's, all right, God, what are you teaching me? You know, we've just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and what are you teaching me? And for some, it might be, we just lost $1,000. For you, it might be $500, or I lost $5,000. It doesn't really matter the amount, although sometimes it feels harder when it's big. But what did I learn from that?
Yeah, what did you learn? That's what. That's really what I want to know.
Yada wants to know what I learned from that.
And I think you might want to know too, because maybe, just maybe, what Ken learned will cause you not to have to learn it for yourself, because that is one of the most vital things.
This could be a whole show, but I'm going to give you like 5 things I learned real quick. How's that?
Okay, go.
All right. I learned to get advice, seek wise counsel, seek other people. I learned to research, do a few calls. You know, we invested in some land that if I'd called the city of Calgary, I would have found out that they have no intentions of bringing sewers out there, and that land would never have been valued at what we, you know, the group of us invested. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people invested.
So does it make it better because you weren't the only one?
No, it just taught me a lesson. Make some phone calls. Do the research. Slow down. And if I've got a feeling that it's too good to be true, it probably is. And then finally, check with my spouse. Check with my spouse would probably be the biggest lesson, because your spouse sometimes has that
spidey sense.
Spidey sense, yeah. If the hair goes up on the back of her neck around something or someone, listen to that. That's my 5.
Okay, perfect. So I'm trusting that you learned something from that. And if you have others to add, we would love those, because then we can learn from your experiences.
Yeah.
And you can learn from ours.
Yeah,
so,
why don't they actually friend us on Facebook?
They could.
Yeah, and then they could private message us. That'd be fun.
Sure. So I'm Yetta, and I spell my name 2 different ways just to make life interesting. So I'm actually kind of easy and yet hard to find. So the legal way to spell my name is actually Jettee, and the phonetic way, or close to the phonetic way, is Yetta. So if you look for Jetta, there's nothing. I'm not the car. I'm not Jetta the car. So you have to pick either my legal name, Jette, and that's from Denmark, Jette, or Yetta. And I put both of them in my Facebook.
Yes, she went on that whole rant just so that you would know how to find her on Facebook.
And you don't call me Jetta the car.
That's right.
Because I'm not Jetta the car.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And then Ken's pretty easy. Ken Dekker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's and it's Dekker.
Right.
No C.
No C's. Okay. So principle number 4 is look forward, not back. Once you got the lesson, once I got the lesson, Ken got those lessons, the one thing I've not been allowed to do is tell him I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
That was really short-lived and didn't produce any goodness.
Yep.
And so can't change the past, can just change the future and make way better choices now. It took more than once to learn some of these lessons.
Oh, yeah. No, you can look back to assess the learning, but don't look back to, because people get stuck in that loop in their brain.
No, we got stuck in that loop.
People. I'm a people.
You are a people.
I got stuck in the loop of looking back and it's the would have, should have, could have.
Right.
And you get stuck in that cycle. I get stuck in that cycle. You may get stuck in that cycle. It's not a good cycle. So what's the tool for looking forward?
Well, for me, it's having a life map. It's having a sense of where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So having an action plan attached to that life map.
Right.
And we've created that, and we've lived off of it. And the best part of it is not so much, I don't think, the things that happen because I have that life map. Because a lot of those things are accomplished and it's really awesome. It's the surprises.
Yeah.
Right? They take place.
You mean the God incidences?
Yeah, those things that I wasn't counting on, those things I hadn't planned for that show up. And I don't know that they all would have shown up. I believe they wouldn't have if I didn't have a plan.
Right.
If I didn't have some way forward. And the biggest learning I've had in creating a life plan and or an action plan is to take action. To take action fast. So as soon as I've created it, I need to take one simple little action. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Just one piece within 24 hours. And then another piece within 24 hours. And then another piece within 24 hours. And just simply take little incremental needle point moves, little tiny steps. They can even be tiny steps.
Like just calling for an appointment with someone.
Yeah, just calling to get some information. Calling to ask for insight. I mean, it's a phone call. And
calling your doctor if you're feeling sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Simple. Or calling a financial planner. Or calling us even to talk through the financial difficulty you might be in and how that could affect your real estate.
Yeah, and you know, one of the biggest issues that some do is they wait too long to make the difficult decisions, whether that be sell a house, buy a smaller one, or sell a house and rent. It might be sell a car and take the bus. It might be sell the second car.
Yeah.
When people get into financial difficulties, one of the things they do is they don't act quick enough.
We've done that.
Yes. Yes, and that's why we can sit here and talk about it. Because we've lived it.
So taking quick action, I would say,
After getting advice.
after getting counsel,
Yes. Yes.
right? Quick action after you've got wise counsel. And I know maybe you would never do this. I suspect you wouldn't. I did. I would go get counsel from somebody that was in a similar situation to me.
No, get counsel from someone that's been there, done that, and is on the other side of
They
the hill.
got the T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because sometimes it's easier to go to somebody that can understand what I'm dealing with right now.
Right.
And so that's where I sometimes went for that counsel. And it actually got me in more trouble,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, don't be like me. Not in that aspect. In other ways, I'll let you.
Okay.
It would be good. Okay, so deal with it. Step into it and don't let it consume you.
Make the tough decisions because, you know, that house you had and you have to sell it, you can buy another one later. Yeah. You know, money is not, it's an abundance. You may have a shortage of it right now, but it can come back.
Yes.
The only thing that doesn't come back is time.
Right.
So don't waste time. Take action.
Right.
Yeah. So number 6 is put yourself first. Put yourself first.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I need to put others first.
No. You see, when you're in financial troubles, quite often comes another layer, which is depression. Okay? And when people are in financial trouble or in health trouble or whatever, or loss of family, and they get into a depression, they stop taking care of themselves. They think they're taking care of themselves. They're laying at home, they're watching TV, they're eating ice cream, they're eating poor quality food, French fries, whatever.
You been there?
Oh yeah, been there. And so what happens is you gain weight. Your brain isn't being fueled properly.
How about you said I gained weight?
I gained weight. My brain wasn't fueled properly. Yeah, I hit a 195. You know, let's like leave me bare on the radio. I hit 195. I'm now just over 165. So I'm in the best shape I've been in a long time.
Yes.
So do things like eat proper food, get some exercise. Exercise is the best thing to alleviate depression. Right. Make yourself look good. Wear your best clothing you've got. Get out of the house. And if it was a job loss, then spend 40 hours a week looking for a job. Because
that's your job.
That's now your full-time job, is looking for a job. Go knock doors, carry your resumes, send in covering letters with a resume. Make your resume look funny. Make it look interesting. Put some color in it. Make it stand out. One fellow was applying for a job with a basketball team, and he wrote his resume on a basketball and delivered the basketball to the coach. Like, that made his resume stand out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one thing that we have done often when we've been in this space, because where do you start? Like, do you just pick up the phone first? How do you create a plan when you're feeling sad? When you can't think clearly, how do you even do all this stuff? They're great insights, and we've done them.
This is a great key, quickly, because we're going to run out of time.
Is take the time to do a journal exercise.
What's that, Yetta?
Determine within yourself what's the one question. If you had the answer to it, it would help you put all your ducks in a row.
Okay.
What's the one question? And so, what is it?
Who do I ask that question to?
God and yourself.
Okay, and how do I do that?
You pray.
Yeah.
And or you ask, because not everybody talking and listening to us has a faith, and it's totally cool either way. There's still amazing insight in all of this. And that is simply get clarity on what the question is, that if you had the answer to, it would change everything. We all know what the question is if we just spent 10 minutes reflecting and praying. Okay. And then once you've got that question, sit down with a pen in hand and at least 5, 6, 7 sheets of paper and intuitively answer the question in a state of prayer and a state of reflection. Just write and write and write. You cannot pick up your pen off the piece of paper, because if you do, you will lose momentum, even if at times you don't know what to write.
Then you write that. I don't know what to write right now. Just keep writing.
Right. For 30 minutes. When you're done, reread that. I promise you the answer's in there. Thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. And let's get rid of those financial difficulties and make quick decisions in getting us moving forward.